Picture this for a moment. While millions of older adults across the United States spend small fortunes on personal trainers, mobility gadgets, supplements, and gym memberships they barely use, there is a 91-year-old woman in Okinawa who starts her day in a way that feels almost unreal. Every morning she steps outside barefoot into her tiny garden, bends effortlessly to prune her herbs, moves between rows of vegetables with the grace of someone half her age, and climbs the steep steps to her home without grabbing the railing even once. She hasn't taken medication for joint pain since her 50s. Her doctor visits? Maybe once every few years, usually just to say hello. And the most astonishing part is that she isn't unique. She is one of thousands of Japanese elders who age in a way that Western scientists once believed was impossible. Here's the part that should make anyone over 60 sit up a little straighter. Japan's seniors have the lowest hip fracture rates in the entire developed world, and multiple international studies show they are up to 65 to 70% less likely to suffer fall-related injuries compared to their Western peers. Harvard Medical School researchers spent 3 full years studying daily practices in Japan, Spinal blue zone regions, communities where reaching 100 isn't too exceptional, but expected. What they discovered didn't involve heavy exercise routines, intense stretching programs, or anything resembling a Western fitness class. Instead, they found something surprisingly simple, almost poetic in its logic. 5 gentle morning movements that take less than 20 minutes, passed down quietly through generations, protecting joints, sharpening balance, and preserving mobility well into the 10th decade of life. Each of these movements looks mild on the surface, but their impact is profound. They tap into the nervous system, awaken deep stabilizer muscles. Most people never engage, lubricate joints that stiffen overnight, and stimulate circulation at a time when the body needs it most. But there is one movement on this list, a movement almost unknown in the Western world, that caught scientists completely off guard. When researchers measured its effect on balance and fall risk, the numbers were so dramatic they tested the participants twice to make sure nothing was wrong with the equipment. The movement, called Seiza transitioning, triggered neurological adaptations that reduced fall risk by 43% in just 8 weeks. And the wildest part? Most Westerners have never even heard its name. Before we dive into this powerful list, if you're watching right now, pause for a second and drop your age and location in the comments. We read every single one because your journey matters to us, and your story helps other seniors feel less alone. Now, let's begin with the movement Japanese elders perform before they even get out of bed. Number 5. Ankle circles and flexing. Ashikubi undo. At first glance, it might seem too basic or too gentle to matter, but don't let the simplicity fool you. Your ankles are the foundation of your balance system. When that foundation becomes stiff or weak, everything above it, your knees, hips, spine, pays the price. Researchers from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology followed 1,400 older adults for 5 years and uncovered a startling truth. Seniors with poor ankle mobility were 2.3 times more likely to experience falling accidents. The reason? Your ankles contain clusters of tiny receptors that communicate instantly with your brain to keep you upright, acting like microscopic sensors on a ship, stabilizing it during rough waters. Japanese elders wake these sensors up in a very intentional way. Lying on their backs, they lift one leg a few inches and draw slow, conscious circles with their foot. 10 circles clockwise, 10 counterclockwise. No rushing, no forcing. Then they extend their toes away as far as possible. Hold for 3 seconds and pull them back toward the shin, holding again. 15 slow flexes. Only after completing the sequence do they switch to the other foot. The brilliance of this routine is in its layering. After the basic ankle mobility, many elders add a simple form of resistance using nothing more than a towel. Wrapping it around the ball of the foot, they gently push and pull, activating stabilizer muscles that are almost impossible to target in traditional exercise. And the science behind this is remarkable. A Kyoto University study reported that seniors who performed just 2 minutes of towel resistance work per ankle improved their balance scores by 31% in 6 weeks. 2 minutes, not 2 hours. Why do they do this before standing up? Because during sleep, synovial fluid, the natural lubricant inside your joints, thickens. Think of motor oil on a cold morning. These gentle ankle movements slowly warm and loosen the fluid, preparing your joints for safe, smooth movement as your feet first touch the floor. Some elders take it a step further by rolling a tennis ball under their feet right after the circles, stimulating the plantar fascia and boosting circulation. Thermal imaging studies show blood flow to the feet increases by nearly 40% after this mini routine, which can be life-changing for anyone dealing with numbness or unsteady footing. Now that the foundation is activated, we travel upward to a movement that directly combats one of the most universal posture problems in Western society. Number 4. Shoulder blade squeezes. Kinkokatsu Yosei. Years of sitting, driving, and looking down at screens slowly pull the spine forward. This rounding weakens your postural muscles, compresses your lungs, and strains your neck. Japanese elders have a beautiful, simple counter-practice, drawing the shoulder blades inward as if holding a small object between them. Osaka Medical College researchers found that seniors who practice this daily reduced neck pain by over 50%, and their breathing capacity increased by more than 20%, because opening the chest allows the lungs to fully expand. But we'll dive deeper into that in Part 2. We ended Part 1 with the shoulder blade squeezes, one of the simplest yet most transformative posture resets Japanese elders rely on every single morning. And now we dive much deeper, because this movement doesn't just correct posture. It changes breathing patterns, nervous system signaling, and even cognitive performance in ways Western researchers didn't expect. When Japanese elders perform Kinkokatsu Yosei, they aren't simply pulling their shoulders back, they're waking up the entire chain of postural muscles that run along the spine. These muscles, your rhomboids, mid-trapezius, and deep spinal stabilizers, are the very ones that tend to shut down from years of slouching. When these muscles weaken, your head shifts forward, your chest collapses, and your lungs literally lose space to expand. That's why so many seniors describe feeling out of breath, even during simple activities like talking while walking or bending down to tie their shoes. But here's the wild part. Osaka Medical College researchers found that seniors who practiced this movement daily not only reduced neck and upper back pain by 40 to 54%, they also performed 18% better on cognitive tests. Why? Because deeper breathing increases oxygen delivery to the brain, especially to areas responsible for memory and executive function. In other words, a simple shoulder squeeze becomes a brain-enhancing exercise when done consistently. The Japanese method emphasizes slowness and awareness. You sit tall, inhale through the nose, and imagine a soft line running from one shoulder blade to the other. As you breathe in, you gently draw the blades together, not yanking them back, not forcing the chest outward, but creating a quiet, magnetic pull. You hold for 5 seconds, breathing normally, then release with a long exhale. 20 repetitions is typical, but many elders say the real magic is in the quality of each squeeze, not the quantity. Once the basic movement is mastered, elders add wing spreads, a graceful arm sweep that resembles a slow-motion snow angel. As you squeeze the blades, you lift your arms out to the sides, until they reach shoulder height. This recruits the rotator cuff, increases shoulder stability, and restores mobility to joints stiffened by decades of desk work and driving. EMG analyses show that when the head remains gently tucked, muscle activation rises by 28%, making the exercise significantly more effective. After the shoulders are awakened, Japanese morning routines shift focus to the spine itself, the structure that determines everything from mobility to balance to longevity. Number 3. Spinal waves. Seitsui no Nami. If there is one movement that perfectly embodies Japan's philosophy of aging, this is it. Rather than forcing the spine into rigid alignment, elders teach it to move like flowing water. This fluidity prevents the stiffness, compression, and disc degeneration that so many Western seniors assume are just part of getting older. The movement begins seated at the edge of a firm chair, feet grounded, hands relaxed, spine upright, not leaning back or slouching. You imagine your spine as a string of pearls, each vertebra a delicate bead capable of separate motion. The wave begins at the pelvis. First, a gentle rounding backward, then a soft forward tilt, allowing the motion to rise up through the lower back, the mid-back, and finally the neck. One wave up, one wave down. Slow, rhythmic, continuous. Japanese researchers at the National Center for Geriatrics studied over 1,200 older adults and made a fascinating discovery. Those who practiced spinal waves had 38% less chronic back pain, and even more impressively, they maintained over 2 inches more height later in life compared to those who didn't. That extra height doesn't mean vanity. It means healthier discs and less spinal compression. MRI scans revealed significantly better disc hydration following daily spinal waves, which is crucial for cushioning and mobility. The advanced version of this movement incorporates synchronized breathing. As the wave rises, you inhale through the nose. As it descends, you exhale through pursed lips. This controlled breathing increases intra-abdominal pressure, giving the spine gentle internal support, almost like a natural corset. Some elders add a slight rotational twist at the top of each wave, first to the right, then to the left, activating side stabilizers often neglected in traditional exercise. 3 sets of 10 waves is typical. Many seniors say it feels like unlocking the spine before the day begins. And sensors confirm that the movement targets deep stabilizers, muscles impossible to access through crunches or standard stretching. Strengthening these muscles dramatically reduces the risk of sudden back spasms, one of the most common mobility killers in older adults. Once the spine is awake and flowing, the routine transitions to movement in standing. And this is where the Japanese way truly diverges from Western methods. Number 2. Hip circle standing. Koshi mawashi. If you grew up in the West, hip circles might sound like something from a warm-up in an aerobics class or a beginner XS dance session. But in Japan, this is considered one of the 5 pillars of lifelong independence. The hips are the central axis of the body. If they lose mobility, walking becomes unstable, balance declines, and even simple movements like stepping onto a curb become risky. The University of Tsukuba conducted one of the most impressive long-term studies on hip mobility ever done. Following 2,000 seniors for 7 years, they found that those who practiced daily hip circles were 51% less likely to require hip replacement surgery and 40% less likely to suffer hospitalizing falls. Researchers believe the circular movement keeps synovial fluid in the hip joint well distributed, preventing stiffness and wear. The motion is slow, controlled, and intentional. Feet slightly wider than hip width. Knees soft. Hands on the hips. You shift your weight into the right hip, move forward, sweep across to the left hip, then complete the circle behind you. 10 circles in one direction, 10 in the other. Not rushed, not forced, just a steady, fluid rotation. Inside the body, extraordinary things happen. The ball and socket joint of the hip gets moved through full rotational range. The joint capsule stretches evenly. The small stabilizing muscles, especially the gluteus medius, wake up and fire. EMG tests show that correct technique increases activation of these stabilizers by 34%, significantly improving gait stability. Japanese elders often practice this movement with weight-shifting awareness, meaning they pay attention to how their weight glides across the feet, front to back, right to left. This strengthens neural pathways that control balance. Some even place a mirror to observe that the upper body remains still while the hips do the work, ensuring proper isolation. For those more advanced, levels are added. Circles at knee height, at mid-thigh, and finally at hip height. Each level challenges different supporting muscles. Holding a small weight at the chest increases core activation by 23%, adding yet another layer of benefit. And now, we are moments away from the #1 movement, the legendary practice that Japanese elders swear by, and Western researchers were stunned to see in action. But that is coming in Part 3. Now we arrive at the movement that Japanese elders consider the crown jewel of their morning routine, the one that preserves independence better than anything else they practice. If the previous movements warm the joints, awaken the stabilizers, and mobilize the spine, this final exercise trains the entire body as a coordinated system. And the science behind it is almost unbelievable. #1. Seiza transitions. Taizogi. To someone seeing it for the first time, Seiza transitions may look like a slow, graceful way of kneeling. But when Harvard researchers observed Japanese elders performing this movement, they noticed something far more significant. This single transition from standing to kneeling and back to standing again activates the nervous system, leg muscles, core stabilizers, and balance mechanisms all at once. And because it requires coordination under control, it becomes a powerful predictor of future mobility. In fact, one of the most cited longevity studies in recent years came from Brazil, involving over 2,000 adults. The researchers discovered that the ability to get down to the floor and rise again without using the hands predicted an average of 6 additional years of life. Not because the movement itself adds years, but because it reflects the health of multiple systems: muscular strength, joint flexibility, balance, and neurological function. Japanese elders have unknowingly been training this for centuries. The traditional Seiza position begins in kneeling, sitting gently on the heels with the tops of the feet flat against the floor. But the transformative part is the transition. Standing tall with feet together, the elder steps one foot back into a wide, stable stance. The back knee lowers softly to the floor, followed by the front knee. Then the hips settle into the kneeling position. To rise again, the process reverses. One foot steps forward into a lunge. The weight shifts forward. And with a gentle exhale, the body lifts back to standing. The leading leg alternates each repetition to ensure balanced strength between sides. Think of what this movement demands from the body. The quadriceps control the descent. The glutes power the ascent. The core stabilizes the trunk, preventing sway. The ankles and knees adjust constantly to maintain alignment. And the brain coordinates all of it in real time. Force plate studies from Kyoto showed that seniors who practiced Seiza transitions increased their lower body strength by 47%, which is comparable to results seen in structured strength training programs. At the same time, they improved knee and ankle flexibility by over 30%, an outcome rarely seen in adults over 70 through conventional means. What's even more fascinating is how Japanese elders adapt this movement for every fitness level. Beginners may start next to a wall, using just a fingertip for guidance. Instead of lowering all the way to sit on the heels, they may stop in a tall kneeling position. Over time, as balance and strength improve, they gradually move closer to the full Seiza. Elders with sensitive knees often place a soft towel under the joints. Those with difficulty shifting weight forward may practice holding onto a stable piece of furniture. The beauty is that even the modified version delivers immense benefits. In a 2-year study of 500 seniors in Kyoto, those who practiced a gentler form of Seiza transitions still had 43% fewer falls than the control group. The advanced version is remarkably elegant. Japanese elders call it carrying practice. They perform the transition while holding a lightweight object, often a cup of tea, a folded towel, or even a small pillow. This may sound trivial, but it requires the body to move smoothly enough not to spill or drop the object. This cultivates refined motor control, which is why elders who practice this version tend to have exceptional balance even into their late 80s and 90s. Modern physical therapists now view this as one of the purest forms of functional training. Breathing is the hidden key. Japanese elders inhale through the nose as they prepare to descend. As the body lowers to the floor, they exhale slowly, creating a natural increase in abdominal pressure that stabilizes the spine. At the bottom, they take a soft inhale, and as they rise, they release breath steadily through the mouth. This timing prevents strain and enhances control, turning a simple transition into a whole-body meditation. Now let's zoom out and look at how these 5 movements work together. In less than 20 minutes, they warm your joints, activate deep stabilizers, boost circulation, increase mobility, improve posture, and strengthen functional muscles you rely on every day. The routine requires no equipment, no gym, and no previous fitness background. Japanese elders practice these movements because they fit naturally into life, not because they feel like a workout. That's the part Westerners often misunderstand. Longevity in Japan is not built from intensity, but consistency. Imagine beginning your mornings with ankle circles before your feet hit the floor, waking up the nervous system that governs balance, then performing gentle shoulder squeezes to open the chest and improve oxygen flow. Next, moving the spine in waves that hydrate discs and restore fluidity, standing tall for hip circles that lubricate the ball and socket joints. And finally, practicing Seiza transitions that train your body for the single most important movement in daily life: getting down and getting back up safely. It's not a miracle. It's mechanics. It's biology. And it works. And here's the deeper truth. These movements don't just protect your body. They protect your independence. They allow you to kneel down to play with grandchildren, rise from a couch confidently, walk across uneven ground without fear, and continue living life on your terms. For many seniors, that is the greatest gift of all. The science supporting these practices is overwhelming. The evidence spans decades, cultures, and thousands of participants. What Japanese elders have quietly known in their daily rituals, modern research is finally confirming. Gentle, consistent movement is far more powerful than sporadic, intense exercise. So now the question becomes, which movement will you start with tomorrow morning? If you could choose only one, ankle circles, shoulder squeezes, spinal waves, hip circles, or Seiza transitions, which one feels like the right beginning for your journey? Tell us in the comments. Your answer might inspire someone else watching. Thank you for being with us today. Stay consistent, stay curious, and remember, Your future self is built from the choices you make each morning. We'll see you in tomorrow's video.